Alright, what is up everybody? We are on the Dualsporting the Free State ride, which is a ride hosted by North Alabama Dualsport Facebook group. We are riding in Bankhead National Forest, which is like central east to west Alabama, kind of in the northern half of the state. I think we had around 50 something riders. We split up into 4 groups, and this is the B group. So for anybody watching this later on that was on this ride and you didn't ride with the B group, this is what you would have encountered had you chose B group. I think there's only 11 of us in this group. It's supposed to be the more moderately or more faster paced Dualsport group that isn't going to any dedicated off-road only trail. So we're going to be looking at pretty much just forest service roads with 1 or 2 little optional off-road down and back kind of dead-end trails. But we had a ton of rain, you know, as you can probably tell. So me and the T7's probably not going to tackle those trails. It's an event where you can camp, and I did not camp last night. The people that did went and rode the optional trail that we'll see today, and they said it was very, very slick, and we had a ton more rain last night, so I'm probably not going to bother attempting that. Jeez, this sand is, to be this wet, I would expect sand to be more hard packed, but I don't ride a lot of sand here in North Alabama. It's kind of wild that there's this much sand on top of this. I wouldn't call it a mountain, but for all intents and purposes, as far as Alabama's concerned, you're kind of at high elevation here, mountaintop-esque, but we're only at like maybe 800 feet of elevation. But compared to all the surrounding area here in Alabama, until you get down to like Birmingham, Alabama, this is considered pretty high elevation. So pretty sandy. And all the rain we had helped keep the dust down for us. That'd be nice. And just tag along. I'm going to be testing out. You can see my Insta360 Go 3 there on the front windshield. I'm not running it at the moment, but I'm going to be testing that out in that orientation for the first time. Should be a good day. I think it's around 200 miles. I did this ride last year. We're running it in a different direction than we ran it in last year, and we got a different starting point. So if you didn't watch all the video from last year where I did this ride, you might see some stuff that you didn't see in that one. That we're starting on here. But I think last year I ended up clocking just over 200 miles. So pretty much the same route, but we did have to do a backtrack because we missed the optional trail last time. So I'm guessing we'll end up at around 160, 170 miles for today, and the majority of it will be the majority of the off pavement sections will kind of be what you're seeing here, just some kind of slightly rough Forest Service type roads. And then there's also some sections where it's pretty high-speed, manicured, graveled forest roads. my buddy Brent's following right behind me. He's from Australia, so lives here currently. Has for a few years. But this wet sand should be, I don't know about the wet part, but the sand part, it should be right in his wheelhouse. As far as bikes on the ride, we've got, I think, 5 DR 650s in this group, so that's the popular bike choice. And I think I'm the only adventure bike, technically. And Brent's got a KTM 690, and I can't remember what else I saw in the group. CRF 300L Rally, there might be 2 of those in this group. And I can't remember if there's a KLX 300 in this group or not. Keep it up, Keith. Front end's pushing pretty aggressively in this wet sand. Just in a straight line, it just starts to wander and push. Which I'm running pretty fresh tires, but I don't have something super aggressive on the front. I've got a Dunlop 605, not the aggressive, more aggressive 606. Slightly more road by 605. And then a Tuss 2-track on the rear. So as far as street legal tires go on the rear, I'm pretty aggressive, or at least I'm aggressive in a straight line. If you haven't seen the tread pattern on one of those, the center knobs are almost like a paddle tire. It's just a huge, big block tread pattern, but the leading edge of that center tread block is flat, straight. Anyway, I'm going to be turning the camera on and off periodically to conserve battery and see if we can't try to get, for the most part, all the highlights from the entire ride into one video. So stay tuned. Make myself a mental note right here to make sure I turn on the, or don't turn on, pop up a picture. I'll just share a screenshot of the route. Ooh, we got some deer. We got one guy, not in our group, but we did have one guy travel all the way from Louisiana. It's a pretty good haul to get up to north central Alabama for this ride. And I feel like the weather probably dampered some of the people that normally attend this ride from further off. The threat of pretty severe thunderstorms came through last night. I know I wouldn't want to drive across multiple states all day, camp in the rain, wake up, ride in the rain, or not ride at all because it's so, weather's so bad. So understandable that a lot of people might have been hesitant to come out. So I think last year we had a few more people than we got this year at this event. And give Keith a hard time. The moderate pace of this group's not I don't think it's quite as quick as it was last year. But I don't know, the rain's got all this stuff a little sketchy. Especially coming around a corner on a downhill and there's a bunch of rain ruts running down the road, and I better not give him too hard of a time about it. definitely is a little sketchy in some spots, especially the sand. I don't know if it's because it's sand on top of a lot of clay, so underneath the sand the water's not draining very well, which then causes the sand to be super soft instead of kind of firm. Or I could just be wrong about sand. I'm not from the beach or from Australia. I don't ride in it much, but in some spots it feels a little softer and you sink into it further than I remember sinking into it last year when it was dry. But there is like a good bit of a clay bottom, so could be causing the water underneath the sand to not really drain off that well. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's one of the other groups, slow, casual, big bike friendly, although the TW200 was the guy from Louisiana. I don't think he wanted to drive that far and get injured, so that was our old man casual group, heading to a totally different destination and taking a totally different route. Out here in this area, though, Alabama doesn't exactly look like a flat state. At least if you're in the northwest corner of Alabama, up north of the Tennessee River, it's pretty dadgum flat. It's where I live. If anybody would recognize a town from that area, it'd probably be Muscle Shoals, Alabama, home to Fame Recording Studios. Skinner, Aretha Franklin, you know, some of those big names recorded at the Swampers. More or less where I live, not right there in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, but that general area. I'm there on a weekly basis, so I'm pretty close to it. Hopefully everybody's getting into the riding season now. Those of you that live up north, starting to warm up enough up there. Get out and go riding. The last video I did was the demo ride on the DRZ4S. Good bike, like the bike itself. For it to be competitive, to make me want to buy it at the price point that it's at, I feel like it would need about 7 or 8 more ponies under the gas tank, which I believe it was Pro Circuit claims they had already gotten one of the bikes to start fabbing up for manufacture aftermarket exhaust. They did according to the Suzuki rep that I was talking to that day, they had already sent them a bike. They had already fabbed up a full pipe, new header and muffler combo, and then they had used the RMZ 450 tuner app to hack into the 4S's ECU to tune it, but I don't think that's going to be available for me, you, and the average Joe rider to do that, but they done it, and they was able to get like 7 more horsepower at the wheel. So if it came factory with that 7 extra horsepower, I mean, that's putting it up in the high 40s, middle high 40s at the wheel, and that's starting to get into, as far as I'm concerned, that's starting to get into fun territory. So unfortunately, that's not the way it rolls off the dealership floor. Despite the wet conditions, it is a absolutely fantastic day to be riding. Visually, it's a great day to be riding. You know, a lot of times, well, everything's still nice and wet, all the foliage, the colors just seem to pop a little bit better. And we got kind of an overcast day, not crazy overcast, it's still plenty bright out here, but I hope visually the vibrance is coming through on the camera as good as it is in real life, because aesthetically it's just a great day to be out riding. Could have slowed down in time for that turn, but I've seen too many people on a group ride not be able to slow down and just come blowing up through the pack, and luckily they didn't hit anybody. So it's a little pro tip for you: if there's no danger in missing the turn and you got 10 people behind you, it's not always a bad thing to just go on and roll through the turn and turn around and come back. I've seen that happen in person multiple times. Every time it happens, it's sketchy. It happened to me one time on a road ride back when I had a victory cross country, and the dude on a Harley just come blowing right between us as we were slowing down to turn. It's sketchy. Oh gosh. Boy, I missed that on camera. I was riding one-handed trying to cut my camera on. Hit a massive pothole. Woo. Anyways, it is after lunch. We stopped at a little hole in the wall called Chef Troy's Talk of the Town. Had some lunch. The sun is out now. The overcast is gone a little bit. We adjusted our route to add about 11 more miles of dirt and to miss the dead end down and back off-road, you know, not public road trail or track. We got rid of that and added just added, like I said, another 11 miles of dirt roads like this to the route. And I was wrong. I do have one other guy on a bigger adventure bike. He slotted in front of me here on the Africa Twin. Older gentleman, and I've been told to watch out. He's pretty quick. So anyway, still enjoying the ride. Got a little dusty, or this particular road's a little dusty compared to what we had been seeing all morning long. So I think the pace has picked up a little bit since lunch. That was 80 miles an hour, allegedly. I think the older gentleman on the Africa Twin, I didn't catch his name. I think he's pushing Keith a little harder than I was wanting to push him earlier this morning. that guy's got way more confidence in the traction of his front tire than I do. I just turned the camera back on, but he's been sending some of these turns like super hot. And then also getting on the throttle and just steering with the rear like all the way around some of these long sweepers. 2 or 3 of them already I've seen him do it. Putting on an absolute clinic and doing pretty much all of it from a seated position. Coming from motocross bikes, I'm a lot more comfortable standing around some of these turns. He's just hammering through them while seated most of the time. He's standing now, but I think that might be the first time I've really seen him stand up. But while we're critiquing somebody else's riding skill, one thing that I'd like to ask him, but one thing I think I've noticed is that while he's getting on the gas super early in a lot of these turns, I think he's doing it from a rather taller gear. Because he's not completely stepping out the rear like he would if he was down in a low gear and just romping on it. He's rolling on it from a lower RPM and a taller gear, which is still spinning the rear on gravel, but you don't have to worry about it just completely stepping out on you. I've only seen him let it completely step out, you know, real good and sideways like once. Which, parallel twin 1100, it's got plenty of torque off the bottom. There's no need to be running along at a high RPM. But again, nuanced things that, you know, beginner or less experienced riders don't realize. Nuanced things. Separate average Joes from fantastic riders. Alright, this is going to be the last leg, really, if you break this up by the amount of stops we took. I'm just going to let the camera roll. I'll run out of battery before the end of this, I'm sure, so hopefully I don't miss nothing that happens afterwards, but I don't think I am. Been a good ride so far. It is 2 o'clock. We probably got another hour and a half left to get all the way back to where we parked the vehicles, campground is. So been a good Dualsport in the Free State Ride 2025. If you're anywhere around the southeast region, definitely a event to check out if you're willing to travel a little bit. Like the content, make sure to like and subscribe. That does help the channel.